Hello and welcome to Zealous Talks. This podcast is our quirky take on corporate culture and all things Zealous. Zealous is a software solution provider based out of Ahmedabad, Gujarat. We are a 12-year-old company with 100 plus team members on board. We have expertise in software, web, and mobile app development, along with the creative command over UI UX designing services. We also hold a no bond policy along with benefiting female employees by availing 2 days of menstruational work from home. We are passionate to code your success. Check out our website, which is linked in the description.
Hi guys, and welcome to Zealous Talks. My name is Chana, host for the episode. In this episode, we would be talking about UX design for the emerging technologies and round about that. Firstly, I would like to welcome our guest Ian. He is from Joburg, I would say, and he is owner of Best Web Design, and he is an UI UX designer himself. So hi Ian.
Hi there, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
No, wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show.
Oh yes, perfectly. So we would be talking about designing for the beginners. We will be talking about what future holds for the UX design and something on those lines too. Okay, let's start with the
Perfect.
first segment. So Ian, can you quickly share quick definition of UX for the audience who are new to this?
No problem. So basically, UX design, user experience design, is the process of creating intuitive user-centric interactions and experiences for new and emerging technology platforms. Basically, it involves understanding the unique challenges and opportunities presented by these technologies, and then designing solutions that prioritizes the user's needs, while still trying to push the boundaries of what is possible.
Perfect. Now that we are good to go with the basics, let's go with some challenges and opportunities. What do you think are some challenges in the upcoming trends when we talk about UX design?
I think it's whether it's the trends or just the day and age of now, I think the challenges are definitely always the uncertainty when it comes to new technologies, and I think it's to do with when you're working with new technologies, you need to be able to establish some guidelines and best practices, and that's obviously sometimes very uncertain, and it can implicate this design decisions. But I think also it's a rapid evolution. The things are evolving so quickly. So by the time that you figure things out now, it might already become obsolete within a year. And then, with most designers, they don't like hearing this, but the technical constraints, because you can't always be as creative as you want to. You need to work within limitations, and I think once we're working with new technologies, you sometimes have some learning gaps when it comes to how you understand those requirements and constraints. And then I think a big part of this all is also your ability to adapt your user. When a user, we don't tend to like change all the time, even though we know it might be needed. Like people would, you'll develop a new platform, lots of money and effort went into getting that design experience fluid, and then the users feel overwhelmed and they're not sure because now things have changed, and it can cause some resistance and confusion. So that's why designing intuitive interfaces are really, really crucial. And then I think things that people often, designers don't, especially junior designers don't take into consideration is the ethical considerations. With data being so crucial with our privacy these days, the designers really need to consider how they utilize data and what data gets consumed by your design choices. And then inclusivity is something that often I feel people miss the mark. There is designing for the user, but often we are forgetting about the users with disabilities, like speech impairments, or even if you're not able to hear and feel and touch the way others do, and how do we adapt to that. So there's definitely quite a few challenges But it's also with challenges there are opportunities.
Yeah. So, in this market where there are a lot of layoffs going on, you think there are opportunities for the UX designers still out there in the market?
I definitely do believe there is always opportunity where you want to find opportunity, but I think it's also important for designers to know when to pivot. You need to be able to kind of adapt and keep yourself agile and adapt to new technologies. And you always find that within a design role that your roles are overlapping with other fields of expertise. And I think if you're able to adapt and collaborate with those roles, that's when you will always be in demand.
I mean, yeah, you have to be up there in the market. You have to know each and everything that's going on, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
How important it is for us to talk about this topic? Like, why you think that this topic is very important for us to, speak about?
I think that, it's always it's really exciting to work with new and emerging technologies. And as designers, because we need to stay adapting and adopting to trends, we need to be able to kind of know and learn from others that have made mistakes. So I think for a designer trying to navigate new technologies, it's always good to try and stay ahead of trends so that you don't get caught behind. Like designers need to constantly upskill themselves, like within any industry. The difficult part of this is because within our industry, things are moving so rapidly fast that it often becomes quite difficult to prioritize what needs to be, changed, or what do I touch, what do I let go. And I think you kind of definitely need to be able to have a mindset of, keeping yourself agile and ready for any ambiguity.
True. If I ask you where you see your industry, particularly the UX industry, in upcoming couple of years, what changes you would like to see? Like, what are your expectations with that?
That's a wonderful question. I think that, there's definitely a lot of emerging tech. I would love for designers to focus more on augmented virtual reality and how you can utilize the Internet of Things. I mean, there are, some more recent technologies coming out like artificial intelligence and machine learning. And it really, I think if people can start using these tools to really, really craft authentic user experiences, I think we're going to be seeing some great work in the future.
I mean, can you share some examples, a successful example? Like, I am guessing you would be having your favorite UX example. So can you share it with me?
Yeah, there's so many to choose from, but I think like on the top of my head, I'll mention some that people might know and some that might be, coming sooner. But definitely like, you've got your voice assistants like, Alexa and Siri and all of that, and the ability for technology to be able to record and document and create databases for all of these recordings is becoming really phenomenal. And there's so many competition out there already trying for bots and artificial intelligence using voice. I think augmented reality has become quite a exciting venture as well, where you find places like IKEA and furniture stores utilizing augmented reality to give you the ability to almost like decorate your home with their furniture to get an example of how it will look, which is really great, and it's helping with boosting their overall revenue. And then you've got things like that are a bit more simple, people don't always notice, but wearable tech, like you've got your different digital watches, and how it can create different haptic feedbacks for you, and you can connect to different devices, which allows you to kind of streamline your communication and your ability to stay active and keep a finger on the pulse. And then something that I'm still looking forward to like tremendously is automated vehicles. I think autonomous vehicles are going to become the future within the near 5 to 10 years. And the interface and the experience when you're sitting in these vehicles, to try and stay safe and stay calm, when something else is driving you. And I think the ability to control and access your your vehicle is going to show some phenomenal call it demand from UX designers. And then you've got things that are, most financial places have been using, even the technology has been used on your phone, is biometric scanning, where you obviously utilize a scan of your face, and it recognizes and almost acts as a lock and key system. But I mean, banks are exploring this now, where you can make payments with biometric scans. There's some Asian companies that utilize it for entering premises, so there's lots of potential there. And I think to end off with that, I feel something also that's got lots of potential still is your blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Like buying, selling, and managing cryptocurrencies is going to become more popular. And I think it also it creates opportunities for new products to be created, similar to your NFTs and things like that. So I think the future looks bright, and there's lots of opportunity for UX designers to jump on.
I mean, you have summed it up very rightly. Can you share a story where one time you got a design and it was quite difficult, and how did you handle it?
So I mentioned to you the wearable tech device. So I had an opportunity where we worked on kind of creating an app for a wearable device, and it was still in its prototype phase. So we're essentially playing around with what is possible, what is not. And I think the challenge was when the wearable watch just came out, it was still a new thing, and there was lots of hardware capabilities that still needed to align and be fully defined. So it was difficult for us to kind of design and create consistent user interaction and experience because of our limitations in terms of we don't know what the hardware can achieve. So how we overcame that is we basically worked very closely with the engineers and the researchers to try and adopt and create an iterative process where we essentially, we design, we test, we take feedback, we go back, we design, test, take feedback. So using the double diamond process was really helpful to keep it agile in an iterative manner.
Wonderful. And can you tell me some few rookie mistakes that UX designers still do? I mean, few might be working under you. So can you tell me what are the rookie mistakes they are still doing?
This is, I'm going to try not take a stab at the juniors here, but I think a common mistake that UX designers, and even sometimes myself, make, is we get love struck on technology too quickly. We lose sight of the user's needs, and it's easy to get caught up in the novelty of technology. But at the end of the day, we as designers need to be able to solve real world problems. And I think another mistake because of that is we're not really collaborating closely with the rest of the team. We often sit in silos where the designers are so scared to kind of receive any feedback because it's not always constructive. The developers are, from a technical side, they like kind of being in tunnel vision. They don't like interruptions. And in the end of the day, great products are created when the whole team can apply design thinking together and collaborate seamlessly.
I mean, yeah, perfect. And let's dig into some basics. What are some basic skills from your perspective that a UX designer would be needed? Like if he needs to, or he or she needs to start in the industry, what are some basic skills?
I think you need to make it clear to yourself that being a designer, you need to be able to be adaptable. Adaptability is paramount. And I think if you can get comfortable with ambiguities and willing to learn and unlearn technologies that evolve, I think it's really putting you in a really good position. And then I think also to add to that is, technical literacy is becoming way more important as technologies are arriving, because while us designers tend to kind of want to craft experiences and look at the, how it visually looks and how people experience it, if you can start understanding a bit more about coding and hardware and have you don't always have to have a really expert opinion on things, but you just need to know the underlying technology, and how the constraints can limit your playing field, and that will allow you to really push the boundaries. And at the end of the day, I think lastly would be, we need to remember to keep a deep empathy for users, and a commitment to inclusive design, because I think that's at the heart of any successful UX design.
Brilliant. Let's add a bit of fun element. Can you share some funny incident which might engage our users, something that you have experienced in your career?
Some fun element that I've experienced in my career. I would say that maybe not fun, but more funny is just before COVID struck, we were working on a project with a well-known bank in South Africa, and we were trying to kind of utilize new hardware technologies like biometric scanning and the ability to print cards on the spot, when you want to open an account. And we were looking at a channel where, an automated teller, like an ATM. And I think we were kind of designing the feature to kind of make an improvement and add some new features. And then obviously COVID struck, and we realized that people do not want to touch anything anymore. So we had to try and find innovative ways to kind of allow the user to have less clicks and still get the job done, and also to avoid having to go into the bank to open up accounts or loans or credit cards, so that they can simply go to an ATM and say, I'm looking for a credit card, here's my ID number, and that's it. Because you're already an existing member to the bank, we've got all your data, so we don't need you to fill in data and information about yourself like we used to do in the past. And it made it a lot quicker, and I must say that it was funny because it's one of those things where you tend to create a design for a specific business need and requirement, and then you end up solving problems for users in a different way when the environment changes, like COVID.
I mean, that's all innovation is all about. Just how quickly you can
exactly
turn the narration around the other side is just amazing. We
No, for sure.
I mean, not recently, but a couple of years ago, we got introduced with cashless transactions. So like when you go to ATM machine, you go to withdraw your cash. So now you don't necessarily need your debit card or credit card. You can enter your bank account and you can get your money.
Yes, I mean, that goes closely with your tap to pay or scan to pay, as well as things like your iWallet or wallets, that the apps that basically link up your card, and there you just use your phone. Now you don't need to use a wallet or have a purse with lots of bank cards. You can enter all of them into your virtual wallet, and keep your that needy device that we can't seem to drop sometimes. You keep it around, and it makes life a lot easier.
I mean, we got digitalized recently, and every other person who is owning a shop has a barcode with them, and we just have to scan that barcode, and we just make the transaction directly from our bank to their bank.
That's brilliant. And I mean, even those scans, when it comes to businesses, these days you're able to track that QR code scan, which really, really helps you to collect data from your users to say, where have these scans happened, which devices are they using, how often do they scan, and that really helps you to kind of, tailor your ability to craft user experiences towards your users' needs. I mean, in the end of the day, everything UX design is about making sure that the user has the perfect experience. And I think like there's so many technologies out there that are yet to be explored. I mean, look at the way Tesla's autonomous vehicle, how they've created a beautiful interface for the inside of it, so much so that NASA was like super impressed and said, let's start utilizing these interfaces within our rockets when we go to space. And for the first time, just almost a year ago, Tesla launched their rocket into space, and it was the first time in history where there wasn't a million buttons that the astronaut had to, click and press and pull and touch. It was a lot easier, and they said it was so easy that it could take an average Joe to space without any complications. So definitely, I think, less is more.
Oh yes, less is 100% more in design, and I think the world is going in a very minimalist aesthetic these days. So that's the narrative right now.
No, definitely. I think it's important to remove clutter, because we are being bombarded by so much clutter and information overload on a daily that where we can, we should be kind of simplifying things in our lives for a bit more of a focused lifestyle.
100%. So I am done from my side. You got anything to say?
No, thank you so much for inviting me to discuss a bit of user experience design. And I'm really looking forward to hearing the final podcast. And I think if you ever want to have another chat and discuss other topics, I would definitely be interested.
Oh, that's great. That's very kind of you. Let me end the podcast first. So guys, this is end of the podcast. This is your host Chana for the episode, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.